Hello, darlings. How are you? I'm actually very excited that we're meeting, and I am so grateful for all of your questions because my true desire is to help you through this time, to be of service, to answer your questions, and for you to practice receiving. Asking is a huge thing for us women. We know this. It's so hard. We always try to figure it out on our own. And we are in a community where we get to share, we get to learn from each other. And any questions that you ask me, it also helps me to let's remember this and let's remember that. So we are in this together. This is a powerful time. Things are starting to shift. It feels like with this whole pandemic, we are on sort of the other side of things. I was just talking to my dear friend in Italy. She told me that they're letting people out more in Spain too. Here in Argentina, I went yesterday. I went out to get a couple of things and I saw more people in the streets. Apparently we haven't gone through the big I think they say that in 2 weeks is going to be one of the biggest, the top of whatever it is, the curve, I guess. And so there's a lot of things happening, but hey, listen, things are moving and shaking. When we first started almost, 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, things looked really scary, and now we're kind of starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which means that it's also the time for us to get ready for what's coming, especially those of you who are in business. And I'm really excited because the first questions, I'm going really by order, to be honest with you. Say hello if you're here. I love to see your comments and where you're tuning in from. The truth is that my intention is to follow the order of your answers, because that's what it is, right? First time, first serve. And some women, the first ones that actually responded, were talking about business. Business is something that I am so really passionate about. Laurie, hello Laurie, welcome. So good to see you here. And I'm really passionate about business because I built how many businesses? 1, 2, 3. So I would say my interior design business, my cookie business, my skincare business, and my coaching business. So four businesses. And I was sharing in an interview the other day. It was in Spanish, so I'm not expecting you to see it. It's actually on my personal page. If you want to go and look at it, if you understand Spanish. But my dear friend was asking me about how I started with this journey. And truth is that I started with my dad. My dad had a lingerie store in Argentina. And after school, I remember being in my teens, I would go to help him out. I love it. It was a lingerie store. So of course, it was like heaven. I had the best panties a teenager could ever wish for. And I earned them, I would say. But it was fun to see how he run his business. I remember one of the things that he would always say was, when people walk in the door, make him feel like home. And, he would remember the names of everyone. Those are little things that I totally remember he would tell me. And then I would be with him when he was closing the day. Say hello if you're tuning in here. When we were closing the shift, he would, do the math and the accounting, and I would stay with him and he would teach me what you needed to do. And I saw him writing the numbers. And, believe it or not, right? When we are little, when we're younger, we learn so much. I've always been very curious myself. I started my business, my interior design business, when I got fired from corporate for laughing. I said, I promised to myself, I'll never work in corporate ever again. I want to be my own boss. And I did. I started it, and then that's when 3 months later, my ex-husband walked out. of our marriage, and I was like, oh crap, I need to find something to do. And so I did. I see my forehead shiny. And so I found another job, and then I went to India, and then I came back, and I really started to shift a lot of things. After that trip to India, a whole spiritual part of me opened up, and I started to become more conscious about the foods that I put in my body and the influence that they has energetically. And I wanted to eat healthy, but I still like my cookies, I'm not gonna lie. Hello, Denis, welcome. So fun to see you here. And so I said, well, I feel like I always had that entrepreneurial, sort of spirit, if you will. And I love being my own boss. And so I started to make these cookies, and I found like a normal recipe. I turned it into it being healthy, and they came out delicious. And so I started to sell them in the health food stores here in Buenos Aires, and it was super fun. But then we had the huge economic crisis, one of the biggest ones, I guess. I don't know. We had so many big ones in Argentina. It's hard to tell, but I did have a really, it was a really bad economic crisis. So clearly, I wasn't able to sustain it, but eventually, and right at that time, my sister was in Miami stuck because of 9/11, and she couldn't come back because we had that huge crisis here, so she kind of got stuck there, and she decided to stay, and she called me up, and when I was packing my things to go visit her, which I did with 2 suitcases and $200 in my purse. I always share this story. There was a voice that told me, pack everything really well because you're not coming back. And I really never did until now. Now I'm here. But I went back and forth eventually, but never to live. And so, so after that, many things happened in between. Eventually, I studied to become an esthetician. I worked at a really nice spa on Fifth Avenue in New York. And eventually, after 7 years, I opened my own practice. When I found out what coaching was and that I was already doing it, I opened my own practice in Manhattan, and I created my own packages with skincare and beauty from the inside out, teaching women to feel confident about their skin, in their skin, feeling beautiful about who they are. And that's how I took that business into 6 figures right away. It was really good. And eventually I realized that I loved it. I loved to have the women coming to my practice, but there was something about freedom that I was really being called to explore. And that's when I found out that I could do my online business and create it. And I invested in a coaching program, and I found out how to do it. I moved to LA, went back to New York after 2.5 years, and I created a beautiful, powerful business, which today it kind of started to shift a little bit. But today I teach women, as you know, to feel empowered within themselves, to create the life and the life that they want, integrating everything. Sometimes, especially in business, we get in that go mode, doing everything that we know we need to do. And sometimes, we forget about the things that are really important to us. It's like we forget about everything else and we get single focused, because what we learned about business was that we needed to do it from the masculine. We need to do it a certain way. And I'm here to tell you that, hello loves, hello. I love seeing you all here. There's something that I'm really passionate when it comes to finding your passions, following your purpose, your calling, your mission. It's very important to have, of course, to have the structures to create a solid, successful business. Absolutely. And if we don't have ourselves, if we don't have, if we're not connected to who we are, if we are not doing it in a way that feels true to us, it's going to be really hard to sustain it. And I tell you this because I've done it that way. I've actually did everything right. My good girl is really, really good. I need to turn the light on. So I'm going to take you for a quick ride here. Oops. There we go. Okay, because the sun, it's a little cloudy, so the sun comes in and out. Anyway, here I am. And I did. I created, when I was in LA, I created a really successful business. I was doing $50,000 months. I'm not kidding. I experienced rapid success, and it was really awesome. And when I really realized, because again, I was doing everything right, I was checking all the boxes, I was doing everything that my mentors were telling me, which of course, because that's what I hire them for. But what I didn't realize is that I wasn't connected with what felt true to me. And so when I got there, it's almost like I look back and I was like, wait a minute, where's everybody? Like I was like, why? This is not what I wanted. And I started to question myself, why am I doing this? Hi, Shauna, good to see you, honey. Why am I doing this? I lost track because I didn't have a vision. I didn't have a solid vision of what I wanted. It's like a part of me was there, but I wasn't there. I forgot. My relationship with my husband was falling apart at the time. My body was breaking down. I had allergies everywhere. I couldn't even eat cheese, nothing. And for an Argentinian to not be able to eat cheese is like horrible. And with my Italian genes, you know the drill. And so I was like, something needs to change. I wasn't having fun. It wasn't exciting anymore. It was hard work, no pain, no gain. And I was exhausted. And I felt like if I let go, that everything would fall apart, and everything that I worked so hard of was gonna fall apart. I started to build a team, and I felt like they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, and I have to be on top of them. So I had to babysit my team. I had to babysit myself. I had to babysit everybody, and it wasn't good. And I started to feel resentful. So this is what I'm showing you here. Some of you might be starting right now. Some of you have already experienced success, and you know what I'm talking about because you felt this. I'm telling you, it's like I talk to women every day, and I work with women who have been having success in their business and they feel trapped. It's almost like it's so hard to give ourselves permission to relax, to enjoy, to do the things that we love. Otherwise, why are we working so hard for? It doesn't work for women. We can still experience success, but not at the expense or sacrifice of who we are. And so the tips that I want to share with you today, because you ladies asked incredible questions. You asked the questions about visibility, right? Let me just pull them up so I have them handy, and I want to read them to you. How are you doing? I want to hear from you. Is this making sense, what I'm saying right now? Is this resonating with you? Let me pull these questions very quick. I closed my computer and now I don't have it. Yeah, and is there any questions that are coming up for you? Are some of the women who had the questions here? I'd like to know. You can ask me questions live as well. Hold on one second, ladies. I just need to pull this on right now. All right. So the questions that they asked me was how to be more visible in business, where to start, okay? How to convey my message and charge for my services, how to become a magnet to attract clients, and how to make a deeper connection with clients. So I wrote down a few things that I feel are, they're going to answer your questions, okay? We're talking about visibility. We're talking about charging for your prices, okay? All of that. This is awesome. So glad to be here. I saw some of the questions and they are all mine too. Awesome. Great. Super, Shauna. Great to hear. So here's the drill. Here's what I want you to know. anything that has to do with, like a lot of us when we're starting our business, what we do, hi Vero, what we do is we start our business because we really feel so passionate about what we're doing. When we create a business, we do it because we really care for others and because we have the biggest heart on the planet. Can you identify within the archetype system who the archetype is? The one that loves to give, the one that really cares and that wants to make people happy, the one that is here to share her love and also make sure that others feel good about themselves. Do you know who she is? Going once. I know we have a little delay, so I want to be mindful. Yes, the good girl. Of course, of course. So what happens with the good girl is that the good girl in our business is awesome because she is the heart of the business. Literally, we have to remember that the home of the good girl is the heart. Okay, so she is the heart of the business and we need her in the business because that's the one that really cares and can feel what people need and when they need it, okay? However, what we have to remember and we have to be mindful about the good girl is that the good girl, it's always there for others. Okay, she's always caring for others and making sure others are happy. And why am I telling you this? Because if we do business solely from the good girl, we're gonna feel uncomfortable about charging for our services. We're gonna be afraid to be criticized if we say something that might not agree with others. Everything is about others. Does that make sense? We're gonna be scared to be judged or criticized. That's why we're going to be hiding, just making sure that we have the okay from everybody before we can come out and say something. But can you imagine waiting for the approval of everyone? How do we even know? If I am doing a video here, I don't know who's watching. If I have to be in my head worried about what you are going to think of me, I'm never gonna be able to do a video. Does that make sense? And so it's the same thing. If we are waiting for the approval of others in our business, we're screwed. We are screwed. It's from the inside out. And this is why the good girl needs the wild woman. Because the wild woman is the one that gives the okay. She is the one that says, you know what? I'm worth it. You know what? I deserve this. You know what? I own who I am and I own my gift. And you know what? My time is valuable. All of those things are so important that we give that to ourselves first. Okay, so that's number one. Does that make sense to you? Like, do we understand that it's so key that the work needs to start from within before we go out into the world? If we want to do it from a place that creates a solid foundation, we can still do and give. And if that is the case, if you are just starting, like some of you were giving me some background, like you're just starting and you're unsure of your gifts, then great, that's great. So then what you do is the following, okay? You want to take notes. First of all, I got it written down because if not, you know, yes, cool. It makes sense, awesome. So what you want is you want to have crystal clear, you want to be crystal clear about what you want, okay? Like if you're going to share a video, for example, you want to know what you want to share. If you have your gifts, if you want to offer a session to someone, like a lot of people are offering sessions for free to test it out when you're learning. I did too. And that is amazing because what you do, you're going to gain confidence. So when you have clarity about what you want for your business, like what's your vision for your business, that is so important to have. that is part of the feminine piece of the business. The structures and everything, like how do you handle the business, what are your hours, how much you're going to charge, like all of that, it's more of the masculine. What platform you're going to be using, what is the strategy that you're going to be using, all of that is amazing. But you need to have a why. What is it that you want? Your good girl won't feel confidence if you don't have clarity, and you want to know this, okay? So the first thing that you want to do is to be clear about what you desire in your business. What is your mission? And if you don't know it, then give yourself the permission to explore, okay? It's okay. It's more than okay that you give yourself that space to explore what is it that you want to really offer. And you can bring some friends over, you can test it out with different people. That's exactly what I did. And maybe, one of the things I'm going to tell you later, but one of the things that is important when it comes to an exchange is that you make sure that there's a giving and receiving balance. I'm going to tell you that in a minute. The second thing that you want to do is when you are unsure of, should I do this, should I do that? Because again, if you want to be visible, but you're unsure of what to do and you're unsure if what you're offering is the right thing, make sure that at least, this is a good guidance, that you do something that brings you joy, okay? If it feels good to you, so that's a good question. Like, what brings me joy? When you're starting, your confidence is shaky, okay? Of course, it makes sense. You're doing something new. It's always going to happen. Don't judge yourself for it. Just understand, all right, that's why. And it is kind of normal. If you do what comes natural to you, I'll tell you in a minute, you'll start building the confidence and it's going to be easy. Don't try to do everything that you hear out there, because you're going to go bananas. You really are going to go bananas. So the most important thing right now is that you focus on something that brings you joy. So for example, when I was doing facials, I loved it. I loved doing facials, and I loved telling my clients, like I would recommend a book. I was just sharing what I was doing. When I went, eventually my clients, because when you're doing something that brings you joy, and when you're truly enjoying it from your soul, what you're doing, and you're not counting pennies, but you're really allowing yourself to enjoy what you're doing, the universe will guide you to where you need to go. Laurie, I'm going to answer your question in a minute. So for me, for example, I was doing facials and I loved it. At the time, I was in love with it. I loved my clients. When they came, they felt like really awesome people in my life. They were kind of my family because I was kind of alone in New York at the time. And I remember we were talking about different things, and I would always ask them questions and how are you doing? What's going on in your life? And I would recommend a book if they needed it, or I would tell them like little things like maybe you can do this, like always wanting to improve their lives. I was just doing it out of the goodness of my heart. Eventually, they started asking me, hey, Paula, do you know what foods can I eat? What supplements can I eat for my skin to be better? And I was like, I really don't know. And I asked around, and a friend of mine recommended this holistic nutrition school. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I love it already. I love the theme. I want to learn more. I went to this school, and that's when I found out what coaching was. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm already doing this. Do you mean that I can make money doing this? And that's when I start. So see how like the universe guided my path, because I already had a desire to do more things. And as I was doing and enjoying in the present moment what I was doing, the universe showed me the next step when I was ready. Is this making sense? I want to see your hearts and your likes. Let me see what Laurie is sharing here. Hold on. Okay, I'm not exactly starting, but I don't mind sharing my experience. What you have described before about the good girl is exactly what happened to me. I started a translating business 10 years ago, and at first I was looking for my father's approval all the time. Now I work less because I also create art and I am a lot happier. Yes, Laurie, thank you for sharing your story. That's amazing. Exactly. Because the truth is, ladies, that we're here to serve and it's all beautiful. But if we're not doing it, if we're not doing something that also brings us joy, then it becomes a sacrifice. And having a business out of sacrifice, no matter how successful you are, it sucks. And it won't last. It's not sustainable. It's going to cost you your health. It's going to cost you your relationships. And that is not the point of why we're in business, are we? Right? Does that make sense? Making money is the easiest equation. Really, like it's easy. And it actually comes easier when you're enjoying it. When you're enjoying it and when you're true to you, which is you're connected with the wild woman. When you're connected with the wild woman, there is a flow of abundance because our wild woman gives us the right to abundance. Yes? Cool. Another thing that you can do, if you're unsure about what you're meant to share, set the intention. I can't stress this enough and how a lot of us don't really connect with this and forget very easily. Laurie, yes, thank you, Laurie. We forget very easily about setting an intention and the power of setting an intention. What I mean by setting an intention is set the intention and read it every day to receive the answers. To feel more confident, to get a sign for that you are on the right path, whatever it is that you want to do. Sometimes when I feel blocked, what I do is I set an intention, and when you set an intention, it opens up the energy. Okay, so then, for example, I say this all the time, and Shauna's gonna laugh, and any of my clients who are here or whoever heard me say this, you know, sometimes you're gonna be in the shower washing your armpit, and I know I'm being very graphical, but you're going to receive the inspiration. You're going to receive the answer because when you set the intention, you opened up the energy. Does this make sense? Yes or no? I want to see your likes, I want to see your hearts, and I want to see your yeses. This is so powerful, and we underestimate the power of us being in charge of our lives. We think, remember the good girl thinks that you need to do it all on your own. That we need to find the answers and that the answers are outside of ourselves. No, the answers are always within. Okay, and the others outside of ourselves are mirrors of how we feel inside. Shauna's laughing. Yeah, Beto also knows too. Another thing that's important. Hey Naomi, good to see you. Also, I want you to trust, especially if you're working out in your business. But this is also if you know, Laura, you would know this, if you're going into your next level of your business, okay? And I'll tell you because I'm actually in the process of shifting my a couple of things in my business right now. And I could feel that the good girl is always going to feel this, like, are you sure? Is it right? Is it not? Like, so let's get over it. Let's know that is going to happen. And you know what? Here's what's going to happen. You need to trust, no matter what level you are, you need to trust that the right people are going to show up for you. That the right people that you're meant to serve, when you have the heart open and the intention to really serve, the right people are going to come your way. It's not the other way around. It has to start from you having that clarity, like I said at the beginning, and then having and knowing what you want. And when you have that clear and you set your intention and you open your heart, right? But also you know that you're listening within to the next steps, and you're also aware of the signs, okay? Know that the right people, that you're going to become a magnet to attract the right people to work with you, okay? This always happens. It's all about clarity. I'm working with the client, Katie, and I love working with her because it happens each and every time. The minute she gets clear, boom, it happens, and she manifests what she wants. Either is the clients, either is the resources, either is whatever it is. So it is hard to get clear on what we want, and that is the big piece. But once you get clear, and it takes, because a lot of us are a lot in our heads. Our good girl learned to live in survival, okay? And you know what I'm talking about, right? Learn to live in survival, which means that we're always stuck in our heads, thinking everything, processing everything. We need to tune in with ourselves. I was just telling one of my clients to go and journal with her wild woman and not think, but feel, tune in, and know what's best for us. Two different energies. Does that make sense? And last but not least, it's very important for us to be connected with the giving and receiving energy versus the doing and taking energy. The giving and receiving energy is when we are in the state of we give because it's joyful. We're not giving because we're expecting feedback. We're not giving because, hi Becky, hello. We're not giving to when you're in business especially, this is crucial. This is absolutely crucial. If you are giving, expecting something in return, you're not in the energy of receiving. It's gonna be harder for you to attract clients because you are doing it with an intention to receive something in return. So it's not giving, but it's doing. Does that make sense? When we're doing, we're always gonna feel like we should have done more, we could have done better, we're not enough, we're not giving enough, and we're always gonna feel that sense of lack. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah? And so for those of us, hi Becky, for those of us who, when you are tuned in with your mission, when you're connected with the heart and soul of your business, you, of course, there is a strategy, but you don't have an attachment. You don't have an expectation. You're doing it because you want to. And if you feel that it's too much, then you need to stop. Then if you start feeling like you're getting resentful, it's not a bad thing. It happens to the best of us. But then stop doing it. Because that means that you're not in the giving and receiving energy. When we are giving from the heart, we're going to receive. And it might not be from the same source that you're giving. And what I'm saying here, for example, is, okay, so right now I am in my community with you ladies. I'm sharing this message. I'm giving because it's my joy to give, and because I want to help you and I want to serve. I'm doing it because I'm choosing, I'm in my power, and I really want the best for you. If it happens that through this video, someone feels inspired to work with me and wants to find out more about my Wild Woman programs and all the programs that I offer, then great. But I'm not doing it because of this. Because what I know is when I do it from the goodness of my heart, and I'm very mindful that I am doing it because I am choosing to do it, not because I have to do it, two different energies, can you tell? Then what happens is that it might not come from this community, but I know it's going to come from somewhere. I just know it. And I'm going to be in that giving and receiving. So I'm not expecting it that any of you right now would come and work with me. Although if that is what you feel inspired, some of you are already working with me. Some of you will continue to work with me. Some of you might not. But if this serves you, that's what makes me happy. And I know if any of you would want to, then great, awesome. But I have no attachments and no expectation. Does that make sense? The difference between the giving and receiving versus the doing and taking. If I am doing something, expecting something in return, then I'm going to feel that I'm losing something, that someone owes me. That's the taking energy. And that doesn't feel good. And for business, you know, sadly, this is what we learned about business, most of us. And that is what I call more of the masculine way, which is more like here in your head. But then again, for me, at least as a woman in business, and I've reached over multiple six figures, it doesn't feel good. It really doesn't feel good. It's not fulfilling because it's not true to our feminine nature. Is that clear? It's not true to our feminine nature to operate solely from here and be in this sort of transaction counting pennies, because the energy, the feminine energy, the energy of us women is abundant. It's like the flowers and the bees. You know, when you have that's the abundance energy. I teach that in my Power of Receiving program. If the law of nature, we are nature, women. Excuse me. We are nature. So if within us there lies the power of nature. If there's a bee and there is a flower, right? A bee comes in and takes the pollen out of the flower and it spreads the flower to, right, the pollen in different flowers, and the bee with that pollen goes and makes honey. It's a win-win situation. The flower gets spread out, her seeds and, you know, pollination it's called, and then the bee creates honey with that, brings it to the hive, and that's the honey. Now, you never see in nature, oh my God, the flower is not with like a little list, like a little black book, like, oh my God, like there's that bee again who only comes and takes my pollen, but doesn't bring anything. No, because it already knows that it's that giving and receiving energy. The bee is gonna spread the pollen throughout, and her and the species are gonna spread, and it's already known. So there is no need to count pennies. With our mind, we created that, and it really, honestly, for some people it works. But if you're really tuned in with the truth of who you are, you would know that that doesn't feel good. Does that make sense? It does not feel good. Okay? So Laurie is asking for something, losing expectations, right? Yes, you gotta drop the expectations. But the most important thing, Laurie, that you wanna remember is the intention behind everything that you're doing in your business. Always. Are you doing this? Are you doing it? And this will answer the question. I think Leah had this question about how to attract more clients, is to have an intention to be connected with your purpose of why you're doing things, and then do it because you feel inspired, because it comes from your truth, not your head. You're not doing it to get clients. You're doing it because you're serving. Okay? And again, then of course there is other, there's many structures to perhaps, send free stuff to clients. And of course you are promoting your service, but you're promoting your service in a way that is authentic. So get clear, what is authentic to you? What feels true to you? Do you need to do more videos? Do you want people to get to know you? Maybe they want to get to know you as a woman. Who are you? And the more you share this, which is really difficult for the good girl, really difficult sometimes, because that requires that you are able to be vulnerable. And that is a whole work on its own. This is a lot of the work that I do in my programs, ladies, because a lot of us learn, especially the good girl learned, that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, and that we're susceptible to be judged, attacked, criticized. That's why the good girl has a hard time opening up. So it's not like it's something like you do this and it's all, good. Oh, I'm going to show myself fully. It's a whole process, so you need to be patient with yourself. And you definitely, if you haven't done this work of personal development, which I think you do because you wouldn't be here, there's deeper layers at times. So really finding out requires that you have support, that you have mentors, and also working with people that already done it. Because a lot of us, for me as well, when I was starting, I didn't have enough examples of people that did it this way, that did it in a way that was authentic. I knew that a lot of people were amazing in the industry, and I'm not criticizing anyone. Everyone will do it the way they need to do it, but something didn't feel right with me. Some people didn't resonate, and when I found people that truly were doing it the same way I wanted to do it, I worked with them because they were just showing me what was possible. Sometimes we need to borrow somebody else's faith in order to continue to grow, and we need the accountability. Of course, that is part of growing a business as well. Okay, so anyway, for any of you who want to know more and who feel drawn and you want to receive my support, I'm here. I am all here for you. We can book a call, we can connect. My intention though, again, my intention is that you are clear on what are the steps that you need in order to really live your truth in the world. And of course, like I said before, of course you're going to feel scared. But you know what? That's part of the challenge. It's part of you trusting yourself, trusting what you're sharing. And also at some point, you're still gonna have to jump. Because if you don't take action, you're never gonna find out. Does that make sense? I trust that this serves you. If you have any other questions, I am here. I'd love to hear if this was of value to you, if this served you in any way. Leave me the comments here. Just know that it is my joy. Ladies, things are turning around now. We are going to be going out there more, and it's important that we continue to come from a place that is authentic and truthful to ourselves. Being unapologetic about who we are, being connected with our feminine and masculine, finding that balance. And that is all of what I'm passionate about in my business, teaching women how to reconnect with themselves and do it from a place that feels truthful and authentic to themselves, okay? If you don't have any other questions, I know there's a little delay. Hi, Liz. Hello. Thank you. I needed to hear this today. Lisa. Oh, sorry, Lisa. Liza. That's how you say it. I'm saying it in Spanish. Hi, Liza. Welcome. I'm so happy to hear this. I'm so happy, and I truly trust that it inspires you. I'm actually starting a program, which is the Wild Woman Immersion Program. It's a 3-month program. If any of you feels inspired to learn more, it's a no pressure call. It's a program that will really support you from that feminine side of your business to find what is exactly that you need in order to come integrated in your business and create more ease, more joy, and more abundance, not only in your business, but in every area of your life. So if that's something that interests you, send me a message, reply to this video, and I look forward to connecting. You can book a call with me and we can chat. Anyway, okay, Shauna, beautiful. I'm glad it served you too. My pleasure. Love you all so much, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.